relating to conditional probability. So we have two events, A and B, and we have some information about them. We have that the probability of A is 2 out of 5. We have the probability of B as 3/10, and we're given the probability of B given A as 1/2. So for part A, we are tasked with finding the probability of A and B intersect B, right? Intersect means A and B simultaneously. And so for part A, we can rely on our equation that says the probability of B given A, which we have, is equal to the probability of A intersect B divided by the probability of A itself, being that A is given to have occurred. Now, this is a standard equation that's in any textbook that you're studying with, so we can fill values in. So the probability of B given A is 1/2. The probability of A is 2/5, and so now we can solve for that numerator, right? We can fill in 1/2 is equal to the probability of A intersect B all over 2/5. And this is straightforward enough to solve, right? We're just going to multiply both sides by 2/5 to cancel out the denominator, multiply by 2/5. And so over here, all we have left is what we're looking for. And so we can state that the probability of A intersect B is equal to 2/5 times 1/2. The 2's cancel out when we multiply the fractions, and so that is 1/5. And that's part A. Okay? Now, part B says, show that A and B are, in fact, independent events. Independent does not mean mutually exclusive, which means two events that can't both happen at the same time. Rather, independent means two events that don't affect one another, that have no bearing on one another. And so one way to show that is for part B, we can show that the probability of B given A is the same as the probability of B given not A, which is the same as the probability of just B, right? Because if A and B are independent, the probability that B happens and the probability that B happens given that A happened should be the exact same, right? The fact that A happened, if they're truly independent and have no effect on one another, these two probabilities should be one and the same, right? But we can see already that because P of B given A is 1/2 and P of B is 3/10, those are not equivalent, right? This is P of B given A is 1/2, and we would need it to be equal to P of B, which we are given to be 3/10. But of course, these two quantities, these two values are not equivalent, and so right away we know that having B occur changes the probability that B will occur, which means they have an effect on one another, which means they're not independent. Okay? A and B not independent. Okay. And finally, for part C, we are asked to find the probability of A given B. Now, the probability of A given B, we can again rely on a slight variation of this equation here. The probability of A given B can be written as the probability of A given B is the probability, again, of A intersect B. This time, we want the probability of A given that B has occurred, and so we're dividing by the probability of B, right? And now we can actually compute this because we found the probability of A intersect B in part A of this question. We found that to be 1/5, and so that's our numerator. Divided by P of B, that's given to us up here as 3/10. And so now we're simply dividing fraction by fraction, right? So that's the same as 1/5 times, we can make this multiplication and flip the bottom fraction, so times 10 over 3. And I take it, remember all my fractions, the 10 over the 5 simplifies to 2 over 1, and so 1 times 2 over 1 times 3. This probability ends up being 2/3. And we're done. So, conditional probability is the log of this equation in a variety of different uses. And independent events, again, independent events are two events that have no effect on one another. And so the probability of B, given that A has occurred, should be the same as the probability of B itself, which really should be the probability of B given that A didn't occur, because they should all be the same if they really have no effect on one another. And we see that that is not the case in this example, hence why A and B are not independent, okay? So, I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, comments, please leave a note down below, and thanks for watching.